Hello, it's Paul Hamilton here from UTB. We're going to create the journey today. So we're going to look at combining the create path animation with the line draw animation. And this is awesome for kids that are looking at early explorers, a whole range of different things, and it can be applied across the curriculum. So why don't we get started? I'm going to show you how to create this from scratch. So we'll go back to our Keynote and we'll start a new Keynote deck. Let's just go with the white. And I'm just going to tap once and tap again on my text boxes to get rid of them, and I'm going to delete them. Now, I'm going to bring in a map. So I've done a Creative Commons search just on Safari, and I've found a map that I'm going to use, and you can use any map at all. Good opportunity to talk to your kids about privacy and copyright and all those things as well. So I'm just going to use this one. Now, you can see when I enlarge this image, it's not going to fit. The dimensions are not going to fit. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to double tap and I'm going to mask it. So what I'm going to do is slightly bring in the width slightly on each side and press done. And then when I've pressed done, I can re-image it. And now because I've changed the dimensions without cutting out too much of the image, you can see here that I've got a nice, and it fills up my template. All right. So that's looking really, really great. I'm going to lock that. So I'm going to go up to my paintbrush on my map and just lock it so it doesn't move all over the place. And I'm going to add, let's see what I'm going to add. Let's add the ship. So if we're studying first settlement or whatever it's going to be, I'm going to look for a ship, see if I've got a Keynote shape. Yep, I've got one here. Now a little bit of design. I don't want to make this too contrasting. I'm going to make my ship yellow. So I'm going to tap on my ship, go up to my paintbrush and look at my styles, and I'm going to make that yellow. So it still stands out, but it doesn't look appalling. So I'm going to go with that. So I've done my ship. That's great. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line draw. So I'm going to use my Apple Pencil or my finger and go up and draw the path. So I'm going to use probably a yellow pen here, and I'm just going to do a rough line draw of the journey of the ship. Now, this is going to be the line that comes behind the animation of the ship. So this is going to be kind of the route that it's traveled as it's kind of moving through. So it gives us that back look at where the ship has actually come from, which is cool. So what we're going to do there is we'll press done on our drawing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my paintbrush and just layer that in the arrange section slightly before, not all the way down because it'll go behind the map, but I'm going to slightly bring that behind the actual ship itself. So if I actually kind of zoom in, you can see that that line is behind. Just it looks a little bit better. Okay, so then I'm going to click on my pen, my drawing again. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to animate. Now, if the animate's not there, make sure you go to the next. You'll find it in the little arrow. And then I'm going to do a line draw as a build-in, not as an animate, but as a build-in. So I'm going to hit the line draw, and it's going to give me a preview of that. And then if I go over and press the cross, and then I click on the line draw again, I can have a little play around with how long I want that to go for. So I'm going to go for about 11 seconds or maybe 10 seconds at the moment, and we'll talk about that later. And it's going to activate on a tap. So that's my line draw. So I'm going to go up and press done to get rid of my animation panel. And now I just need to do the ship. So I'm going to click on the ship. I'm going to right click. And this time I'm going to go to animate. So I hit my next arrow. There it is there. And for this one, I'm going to do a create path. So it's in the action sequence. And I'm going to do the create path. And what I can do there is I can drag that little red dot. And you can see now why I've done the line to start with. So it gives me a really good guide. And I'm just going to do roughly kind of go around and see if I can match up that path so it looks pretty professional when it's actually done. And I'll end up around Sydney there, which is cool. So it gives me a little bit of a preview. Now I can do the same thing. I can change the duration. This is where I want it to go a little bit quicker. And I'm going to muck it up on purpose here, but I'm going to make it go a little bit quicker than the line draw, so the line's behind it. I can also tap on the red line itself, and I can change these little anchor points. See these little anchor points? You can actually move them to get it a little bit more accurate if you want. You can be as pedantic as you want with this, which is great. So I'll just do that again. So you tap on it, then you tap on your animation, and you tap on your line and you tap on the red, and it gives you those little create path points that you can kind of manipulate and change if you want to be really, really super accurate in regard to doing that. So that's just one way of changing it, or you can redraw it and go back to the start and kind of redraw that as well. When you finish, press done. And now I'm going to press play just to have a look and see how I'm going in regard to my timing. So when I tap the screen, look what happens. My line draw happens, but my ship doesn't. That means I need to go back and I need to click on my ship, right click or click again and go to animate, go down to my create path and make sure that where it says start, instead of on tap, we want it happening with build one, which was the line draw. So we want it happening both at the same time. Let's give that a bit of a go now. So I press play and I'll tap and I'm getting there. But what actually happens here is my path goes in front of it. So my path is actually taking less of time and therefore faster. So I need to jump back into my settings and either change my line draw or my ship to make sure that one goes faster than the other. So this one, I'm actually going to make my line draw take longer. So therefore it will slow it down. That's looking a little bit better, although maybe it's a little bit too slow because the ship is leaving that trail behind. So I'm going to do it one more time. I'll go down to my settings and instead of 12, let's make it 11. And let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's much better. So you can see here how you've actually got that create path, but you've also got the line draw behind it. Now, this is super important because we want to know where the ship has actually traveled through, what kind of destinations. You could add some audio. You could do a range of different things. Now, when you finish, go up to your three dots and let's have a look at a couple of the options. You can export that slide as a movie file, but also an animated GIF. That might just give you easy access to the animation. Paul Hamilton here from Using Technology Better.